pleasure of hearing Sue and Craig's story, and now we hear Lindy and Larry tell not only their story, but the story of Bo and all their kids. So now you get mine. I'm Mary Alford from Odessa, Texas. Well, some of y'all probably know that's not exactly true. I mean, I've lived in Houston for 31 years. But a lot of me that made me me is because I'm from Odessa. Let me give you a few little examples. Don't waste water. Often at times, don't even drink the water. Come when called, make friends fast and deep. You never know when somebody's daddy might get transferred somewhere far away, like Oklahoma or Houston. No matter how late you stay out on Saturday night, you get up and go to church on Sunday. And then there's always just the just show up lesson. If you don't, there's a likelihood there won't be enough people for whatever you're going to do. And then lastly, this is really big. Everything, and I mean everything about Friday Night Lights, I mean the book, the movie, the TV series, is completely true. Well, okay, maybe not all true, that's another lie here, but high school football mania is real, and it leads small children from Odessa to believe that trophies and number one rankings really matter. It's that last one, the quest for being number one, that propelled me through much of my life. There had to be something that I would be ranked number one. I mean, something. So anyway, somewhere during my quest years, I married Jean, got out of school, moved to Philadelphia. Now during this drive, I thought I might be ranked number one in the hating my husband category, as I quietly sobbed all the way to Philly, but then I realized other women had to move further away. We then moved to Michigan, and then, lo and behold, Jean got a job in Houston. Let me take a brief moment, and I'll tell you a little bit about Jean. Once upon a time, I was smarter than he was. I mean, really, but then at some point, he found some extra brain compartment that he just crammed full of lots and lots of important knowledge, and the kind of smart regular guy that I married turned into an incredibly smart, innovative, determined microvascular reconstructive surgeon. This isn't something I saw coming, but it got us back to Texas. So, of course, in Texas, I could be number one at something. I mean, I was from Texas, it can't be that hard. So we settled in. Jean worked hard, and I worked not near as hard. We had the pleasure and responsibility of 3 kids and the things that go with all that. And if this was all fun and good, how about let's buy a place in the country and have more fun and good and sunshine and smiles? And if this is so good, how about if I spend every dime of mine and buy Gene a tractor? His daddy helped me choose, and his brother helped me keep the secret, and I gave Gene a nice, shiny new thing. Now, some of y'all might be thinking that Mary has finally reached her number one, best gift ever. But y'all remember, Drayton McLean, he gave Roy Oswald a bulldozer. So anyway, but interestingly, the tractor was my first step toward my number one. You see, Gene was working on our farm on a special gift tractor when the tree fell and broke his back. Our life really changed on December 30th, 2007. John, our eldest, was a sophomore at A&M. Bess, our middle, was a senior at St. John's. And Charles, our baby, was a freshman at Strake Jesuit. Jean spoke to us that day and then was put in a medically induced coma for the next 11 days. It was hard, really hard. And then he woke up and it got even harder. You see, the realization of what a spinal cord injury really means takes months to settle in. Jean was a patient at TIER, the rehab hospital, for 10 months. It was then that my Odessa rules began to make sense to me. Real friends would come when called, no matter what, church on Sunday, and just show up. Sometimes that's all you can do. I thought it might crush me, but I didn't have a choice with 3 kids. One was becoming a man, one was going off to college, and one needed to learn how to drive. If only Charles could drive himself to Strake Jesuit. It became my mission. This time, my dad helped me. He was the one who found the car. Now, Charles, the skinniest boy in 4 counties who had the athletic skills of a 4th grader, had a high school lacrosse tournament in College Station. We could arrange for someone to stay with Jean. Charles and I could fly to Odessa, eat Taco Villa with my mom and dad, and then drive the new used car to meet the Straight Jesuit lacrosse team in College Station. Then John and Bess could watch him play. It was a perfect plan. But we had a wreck. Charles was driving. We'd been practicing using cruise control. No one was on the road between Odessa and San Angelo. It was a perfect day. He was happy. I was relaxed. Somehow he bumped the rumble strip and corrected, but kind of corrected too much, and then he had to correct again and too much again. And I said, "Hang on, Charlie, we're going in the ditch." Well, we did. But in a rolling over and over way that's not good for a skinny 16-year-old. That's the day, February 13th, 2008, that I got my #1 ranking. That day, I actually became the saddest, most exhausted, crushed, broken human ever. Not what I dreamed of. Here I was, #1 in every broken-hearted category, and I was terrified. How on earth would we survive when every kindness that any human could ever do had already been done for us? I know Bo's Place is not an exclusively Christian organization. Death and sadness and brokenheartedness is available to all. But I'm a Christian and had always really trusted God. Since December 30th, 2007, I had depended on God and never questioned him. But I did question the humans I knew. How could they continue to love the Alfords? We had used every bit of goodness that any sensible human could ever share with us. That's where I got things wrong. God wasn't tired. Tired is not in his nature. In fact, the only time he ever rested was that one Sunday. I was exhausted. He just kept pointing at folks saying, "You're next." And the right person at the right moment did the right thing. God had us, all the broken pieces of us, and held them gently as those he called helped put us back together. When all this happened, I knew one fact about Bo's Place. It was a place where families with kids under 18 could get grief counseling. Well, that isn't even true, but I didn't know. And we weren't under 18, nobody at our house was, so we didn't go. So we did okay, but I'm sure Bo's Place would have helped. Several things I've learned being the #1 most brokenhearted person ever. First off, there's no such thing as #1 most brokenhearted. Everyone's broken heart is just as real and dark and scary as every other person's. Secondly, some things are just worth crying about. Unfortunately, crying often happens in horribly unexpected, unexplainable places. Thirdly, there's no bigger or littler grief, but the journey through, around, and over is completely unique. And fourthly, this may be a hard one for y'all to believe, but grief makes you dumb as a post. It'll eventually go away, but it's real. Bo's Place knows all these things. They know how to help and guide and lead and encourage each and every one of us. This is the reason why it's important we're here tonight. 1 in 14 kids under the age of 18 in Harris County will experience the death of a sibling or parent. Yep, I said 1 in 14. I don't think we can change those statistics, but we can be prepared when it happens. You can be the one who says, "I know who can help." Practice right now. I know who can help. It's Bo's Place. Remember it. practice it in the mirror. I promise it's the kindest words you can say when absolutely no words seem to matter. You know, we did hear the other stories. Now you've heard my story, Jean's story, John and Bess's story. Where do you fit into this story? You fit in right here, in this big story, every one of you. Now, one little aside here. I have to tell you one more important thing about me. And this is totally because I live in Houston. No Odessa stuff anymore. This is from living in Houston. I love IKEA projects. I mean, you know, you open that box, everything has a purpose. Large, small, weight-bearing, decorative. If it's in there, it's needed. It's always great to pull out that great big piece. I mean, the one that gives it shape and structure. But you know, that piece is useless without those 464 small screws and the hex wrench. Well, as you know tonight, we are here and we want big gifts. Okay, I said it, we want big gifts. But the thing is, here at Bo's Place, we need all the small, necessary pieces that will continue to move Bo's Place into the next 35 years. One very important fact, no IKEA project can start until you open the box. Here, box being symbolic for wallet. Paddles Up's about to start. Cambrell Marshall's in charge of that. Thank you very much.